Hi, and welcome to Rain Radio, where we have juicy conversations that lead to powerful transformations. We are your hosts. I'm Leela Sage.
And I'm Naomi Calderon, and today we are talking about a journey of asking. So grab your drink and your journal, put on your crown, and let's chat.
What are you drinking?
Okay, I'll give you 3 guesses, and the first 2 don't count.
Water, water, and water?
You got it, sister.
You're so awesome.
I am. I make a refreshing watermelon juice in a bit, though. So
that sounds amazing.
Yes, watermelon, strawberry,
basil.
That
does sound amazing.
It's tasty.
Now I have drink envy. I am drinking water and tea because somebody's husband told me I need more water.
Somebody's husband is a wise man.
I think he knows things sometimes.
He's scarily spot on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. So this whole asking thing, I'll explain to the people. Hi, people listening in the future. About 2 years ago, I did an adventure in asking where I asked someone for something every single day. It was probably the most uncomfortable, expansive, amazing year of my life. And I got more comfortable receiving because I got more comfortable asking. And then Naomi decided she would do it with me. And this year, we sort of switched our theme up a little bit to expansion, which is going to include some asking. And Naomi decided to be the first person to make a big ask. And do you want to fill everybody in on your ask, or do you want me to do it?
I can, and you can fill in the gaps. How's that?
Sounds good.
So, for those of you who don't know me, haven't followed me, don't know my background and my story, I had surgery done in late March, like the end of March, to remove a chunk of skin cancer. Now, as a holistic health coach, I had tried a lot of holistic remedies out there. It had gone away at one point, and I did a happy dance, and then I hit perimenopause, and my hormones went a little wonky, and it came back with a vengeance. And I got big. Because I know a lot of people who've had skin cancer removed, and they're like, oh, yeah, I just did it in the doctor's office. They burned it off, froze it off, chopped it off, whatever. But it's a small procedure and leaves a small scar is all. Well, this had gotten to the point where it was about the size, somewhere between quarter and pepperoni. So you'll probably never want to eat pizza again now, right? And it was on my right temple, really close to my eye. So as much as I love taking a holistic route, it had gotten to a point where I had to have it removed. I just had to. And so I had it done. And it was big, and it had gone a lot deeper than they anticipated. I had asked if I'd be able to do stuff the next day, and they're like, oh, yeah, you'll just have a bandage on. So in my head, because I think I'm, superhuman or something, I anticipated that, yes, it's going to take time to heal, but it's not like I went under general anesthetics. It was local. No big deal, right? Wrong answer. It is healing, and there have been a lot of costs associated with it, and insurance being what it is. It isn't covered. And the cost ended up much more than what I initially had been advised and had anticipated. And the healing process has been a lot longer than I anticipated. And there's been a domino effect of sorts, I guess. There have been some other things that have happened because it takes your body time to heal. And I sometimes forget, even as a health coach, that when you're healing from these things, it really requires extra rest, extra self-care, extra gentleness, extra nutrition, extra, read all about it. So I've pretty much been going on about life as though it's business as usual. And, okay, if there's men listening, sorry, but get over yourselves. It affected my cycle. Like a month and a half later, it was like, am I going to have to go into the doctor? Because it really threw things off. Not in a bad way, just in, okay, this isn't normal for my body, what's happening kind of a way. And so through all of that, it's felt like trying to keep the plate spinning has gotten harder. Trying to keep the right balls in the air and determine what those right balls even are has been harder. It's been requiring more cocooning. And there's that part of me that's like, yeah, but I'm a business owner. I don't have time to cocoon more. I have time to take care of myself, but not more. Because for those of you who've never been in business for yourself, if you're in business for yourself, depending on how your business is structured, unless you have built residual income streams into your business and those are flowing well, if you don't work, you don't make money. So I've continued to do the networking. I've continued to do the meeting people, shaking hands, kissing babies, all the things, without doing the extra nutrition, extra self-care, extra. And it is showing up in a big way. So I was talking to Leela about it because my practical brain said, you know what, you've had the surgery, you're fine now. Just get on with life. And the rest of me went, oh, hold up a minute there, sister. So as I was talking to Leela about it, some of the things that came out of the conversations we've had is that it's not just the cost of the surgery, although it sucks that insurance is what it is, and good luck covering any of that. It's the cost of the healing after the event. It's the emotional, the physical, the actual financial cost. And so we talked about it, and she suggested, and she was not the first friend who suggested doing a GoFundMe. And I have pushed up against that for at least a good 6 weeks, 2 months. Didn't want to do it. It felt wrong. Well, it felt wrong. It felt like I should be able to handle all this myself, right? Mm-hmm. And there's been this, as it relates to where are you stepping into power, where are you not, where's your own sovereignty located, and what's it wrapped up in my head, to really protect my sovereignty is I should be doing this myself. I'm a grown-ass woman, and I can make my own damn money, and I should be handling all this myself.
Mm-hmm. That's an interesting point of view.
Yeah, that's one way to put it.
So how did we get from that interesting point of view to, hey, please support Naomi's GoFundMe page? campaign.
Oh my gosh, it wasn't a step from one into the other, because yes, Leela was kind enough to put together a GoFundMe page. And even with it going live and her asking if I would be comfortable talking about it here, at first I was like, oh my God, it's gone live. Holy crap. I wanted to climb in a hole and hide.
Oh.
That's shrinking. That's not powerful. But then when she said, do you want to talk about it? Would you be willing to talk about it? I was like, sure. And what I recognize is it's the people I see day to day, especially in the capacity as a business owner, that there's fear of judgment. Whereas you people listening, you might be sitting and judging me going, well, you should be able to pay for your own surgery, blah, 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 blah. You might, and that's okay if you do. Or you might be like, wow, yeah, I've had medical expenses before, and I feel you, sister, here's $20. Great. Neither of those change who I am, but I'm letting the thought of those things affect how I show up. And it took conversations. How did I get from one to the other? It took clearing. It took conversations. It took journaling. It took sitting with, what am I afraid of? What would serve me best? It took noticing where I get judgy about people asking for money and support and where I don't. It took looking at what I think is a valid reason to ask for money and what isn't.
Ooh, that's fun.
Right? So one of the things Leela told me when we were talking about it was that she goes, people have GoFundMes for everything. I've even seen people do GoFundMes because they want tickets to a Beyonce concert.
Right. And excuse me while my judgy pants and I get on our unicorn high horse.
Serious.
Yeah.
And yet, what makes that any less, if it's somebody's desire, does that make that less than a noble pursuit than my wanting to be able to do the extra? Because some of the nutritional stuff that I know would support my body and healing, we're talking a few $100s a month for a good 3 to 6 months.
Yeah.
That's a lot of extra to put in the budget.
Yep.
It's probably a Beyonce ticket.
It's almost a Beyonce ticket. They were over $400.
Oh, dear God. More judgy pants. Hold on.
For like $50 tickets at regular concerts.
Wow.
Yeah. Lots of interesting points of view in there we can pick apart later as business owners.
Yeah.
So I did not know that, and I love knowing the difference between, oh my God, it's live, and oh yeah, sure, I'll talk about that. Because when I asked you, you did not seem resistant, like not super resistant. You were just like, all right, I'm going to take a deep breath and have this conversation. That's going to be great. But you didn't seem like when my therapist asked me to have a particular conversation with my enjoyable other, and I literally went, ah! And she was like, okay, maybe we won't start there.
Oh, yeah. No, if you had asked me to stand up in some of the networking groups that I am in locally and to have this conversation, that would have caused a lot more heart palpitations, hyperventilating, and your, absolutely, it would have. So even who I'm speaking to, plus I know the communities you and I have built online are supportive communities.
That's another interesting point of view.
Yeah.
So so can your local tribe be supportive of you if they don't know what you desire and require support with.
No, not at all. They don't even have the opportunity to. They also don't have the opportunity to get all judgy. So
I know.
And that's, I think, where the sovereign conversation comes in is, am I standing in my own power? Am I creating sovereignty, or am I taking away from it by not speaking that out? By not asking my local community to be of help, and those who can and will, fabulous. And those who can't or won't, also fabulous.
Yeah. So, what's the answer to that question? Do you know already?
It's about giving people the opportunity. Because, yeah, if they don't know, if I don't know somebody needs support, if I don't know that somebody's, and I saw that recently, just this week, actually, online, a local woman I know who gives to the community in all sorts of ways. She really is an amazing individual in that, and she is all heart. She's apparently dealing with some health issues and the death of her father this past week on top of that. And he helped out a lot because he actually lived with her. And
oh, wow.
Yeah, and so there's a meal train going around for people to sign up and help. And I love that. And it's like, I see people wanting to jump in and help with the meal train. If they know it's happening, yes, they will. Or some will. Some may not. Some may be like, there's food delivery service. Well, great, but can you chip in and help with that even?
Right.
It's when we're dealing with health issues, people often are much more willing to step up than I give them credit for.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, a lot of people were really surprised when I came back after having had the procedure, and they're like, "Oh my God, what happened?" Because they didn't even know.
Mm-hmm.
Because I didn't share it before the fact, except with a select few.
What do you make of that?
There's all sorts of stuff wrapped up in that. Everything from self-judgment, because I'm a health coach and I should have been able to deal with this a lot sooner. Plus, people have their opinions of why I didn't go get it cut out when I first discovered it.
Mm-hmm.
People who believe Western medicine and is the first line of defense, and let me cut it out, burn it out, or drug it up to get rid of whatever
Mm-hmm.
it is.
Yeah.
And that sometimes becomes a longer conversation that I just really, I'm not into arguing with people on whether or not the holistic route is the best route. It's the best route for me, and that's all, So
Yeah.
I didn't talk about it a lot. And there was self-judgment because I'm a health coach and I should have this shit figured out. So there's been a lot of that through this whole journey.
So where in all of that conversation that you've had with yourself are you
And with
finding
you.
your and with me and with God and with our teams, where are you finding your peace, power, and freedom amongst all that judgy pants?
The peace, I will be honest, has been intermittent. I have had moments of panic. What?
I said it usually is when you're on Earth, intermittent.
Right? It's been sort of this dance between peace and panic. The peace a lot of it has come in the ahas, in the shifting of perspectives, in seeing other people asking for help and seeing the response, in sharing some of the, I waited till a lot of the healing had taken place to share photos, primarily. Some of it was pretty ugly and gross, actually. Nobody needs to see that unless they ask. But in the response, I got, oh my gosh, I didn't even know you had this going on, prayers for healing, blah, blah, blah. Those kinds of things. The occasional person who would text me and just say, hey, how are you feeling today? That's where the peace came in. And a conversation you and I had just last week, really recognizing that if I ask, the worst thing that's going to happen is there will be some people who are judgmental about it. That may change their view of me and who I am. And that's on them, it's not on me. The power comes in, I think the way you put it a bit ago is perfect. Giving people the opportunity. I say I want to be about community. I want to build a tribe, all of these things. If I'm unwilling to share, not that you have to be, or that I have to be the person who shares every hot mess thing on Facebook. Facebook does not have to be my dear diary.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm willing to share that journey with people, it invites them to be a little more real.
Mm-hmm.
It invites them to express. It invites them to connect. So by my being willing to be vulnerable, to me there's power in that. It may feel scary as fuck. But there's power in stripping away all the bullshit. Stripping away the judgment, stripping away the what ifs, the stripping away of the fear, of the caring. You'd think by my age I wouldn't care what people say and think. But I'm human, I got 2 legs, I do. But stripping those things away to get to the essence of what matters, and the willingness to ask without expectation, and I think that's the key piece in a lot of this for me as well. That's where power lies.
I love it. And freedom. Are you finding any freedom in this experience?
Well, the freedom comes through that too, because then you can fully be seen. If you're willing to be honest, if I'm willing to be honest, if I'm willing to ask and say, I need some help. Yeah. If I'm willing to stop allowing other people's judgments to matter, even for a brief second, until all those brief seconds become more like all the time. When we can do that, when I do that for myself, there's freedom in that. The rest of the time, if I'm sitting in a space of worried about what people will think, needing support, not asking for it, not getting it, just hoping that somebody will notice and maybe give me some support, which is ridiculous when it comes out of my mouth, right? What's that?
I said, enter the martyr archetype.
Right? Or the wounded child hoping to be rescued bullshit. Either one, whichever one it is you're sitting in. And for me, it waffles between, I do a little dance between both at times. That feels like a straitjacket.
Absolutely.
When I can let those go.
So how do you let them go?
I call Leela. So there's a lot of clearing exercises that both Leela and I do, and sometimes I will run them for myself, and sometimes I will call her and run them. We've done energy pulls. For me, it took a lot of, I'm going to call it inner wrestling, because that's really what it felt like. I was wrestling with this decision. I didn't want to do a GoFundMe. And I had to look at why.
Yeah.
And I recognized that I was boiling my experience down to solely that day.
Okay, say more about that.
I was taking the entire healing experience, the entire experience of I am now cancer free, and thank the sweet baby Jesus, all that is holy, and maybe a few things aren't. It is gone completely. Margins are clear. And I'm so grateful for that. But I was boiling everything down to that day, that experience, the surgery. It was not just that day. That experience, and it took me, what is this? We're beginning, let's see. It took 3 months for me to figure this out, people. So if it takes you a minute, give yourself a little grace. You're in good company.
Yeah.
It took me that long to figure out. It wasn't just that day. It wasn't just the follow-up of doctor's appointments. It wasn't just those days either. It was those days and everything in between. It was the gas to get back and forth to the doctor's office.
So, I don't know what time we hit record, but
I do.
Oh, okay, good. How much time do we have?
4 minutes.
Oh, 4 minutes. Okay, I'm not going to dive into that pool then. I am going to say thank you for sharing so openly with a bunch of people whose faces you can't see right now, with all of the internet. And I want to thank you for the courage to do this, because I still haven't, and I'm not in a space where it's required now. Like, if I set up a GoFundMe, like, right now, with the way my life is set up, it would literally be an experiment. It would just be like, will you give me money? But there were so many times where I, like, dropped my babies off at school, my 13-year-old when he was in kindergarten, dropped him off and his sister off for the first day of school and did not have school supplies. And they were 3 weeks late. Sat in my car and cried. It was a fun time. That was a GoFundMe moment. That required a GoFundMe. So I want to thank you for allowing yourself the vulnerability to be supported. And I want to thank everybody that's listening and sharing the campaign and contributing to the campaign, for your support and contribution. Do anything you want to leave people with?
Yeah, sometimes support looks like money because that's the easiest way and thing to do. And we don't always know what somebody needs, and that's a way to cover needs. And that's beautiful, and that's brilliant. And yes, from the bottom of my heart, anyone who does, fantastic, big thank you. I had one friend who's like, let me know what you need and I needed to cover the down payment with the surgeon. And so she's like, great, pay me back whenever you can. Somebody else is like, is your husband taking you down for the surgery, or do you need me to come get you? This is somebody who lives an hour away from me, who was willing to come pick me up, to drive an hour in a different direction, to take me to go have the surgery, to then drive me home and go back home. Now, my husband, of course, was coming with me. But the fact that she asked and offered, that support meant all the world to me.
I love that.
Yeah, support looks different. And it wasn't until I went to my first follow-up visit and went by myself to have the stitches out, and my husband didn't go with me because we didn't really, quote, see a need. I cried driving home.
Oh. Why, though? Tell me.
Have you ever had stitches?
They were dissolvable.
Oh, yeah. Getting them pulled out, there was no local anesthetic. It was probably worse than the surgery. Oh my God, it hurt. And I think just what I know energetically, it was tugging. There was a lot of, when you remove stitches, there is some tugging that goes on. And some of those tugs hurt. But it was a, best way I can think of to put it is like a re-irritation of the wound.
Oh, yeah. That happened when after my cesarean. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So you get what I'm saying there, right?
Yep. Cried.
Yeah. Oh, was I alone? No. My husband has been amazing through all of this. And knowing what I know now, seeing it all unfold, I would have made his ass go with me. I would have asked too, because he's like, well, do you need me to go? And I'm like, no, not really. Because I didn't know.
Yeah.
And what I realize now is it would have been, and if I had said, I want you to go, he would have. Sometimes we don't always know what support to ask for.
Yep.
Until after the fact. And I know that experience is also part of what allowed me to come finally to that space of saying, I need and want, I'm asking for some support. So you may not know what support you're needing or wanting. You may be afraid to ask for it. I am here to tell you not everyone will step up and say yes. Not everyone will say, sure, how can I support you? There may be some people who pull on their judgy pants at my GoFundMe. But that has nothing to do about me. And they're entitled to their feelings. They're entitled to their opinions.
Yep.
But if you need support, ask. And also with that, and I had to do the same thing, is be open to feedback, suggestions. You don't have to take them on. seek wise counsel, I guess is really what I'm saying. That's why I do call Leela. So if you don't have a Leela in your life, you do now. Call her.
Yeah, you can always hire a Leela.
Yeah, I would, yes, hire Leela, absolutely. Call and hire her. Book yourself a session. Get the support. You need support
definitely.
affording a package from Leela? Ask your community. Tell them that's what you want for your birthday. You know?
Definitely.
I'd take a Leela for my birthday.
You get the privilege of a Leela all the time.
I do. And I am grateful.
Ditto, because I get the privilege of a Naomi all the time. It's pretty fantastic. Yeah, I definitely love that you put that, because that was going to be my question. Was like, what do I do if I don't know what it is that I need? Get support, sorting it out. Look at what drives you crazy in your life. Look at what makes you cry. Dishes. Dishes have made me cry. Those are the places that you know that you need support. Or the thing that you are vehemently, adamantly against. Like, I'm not doing a GoFundMe because I should be able to do this myself, damn it. Should is how you know you're probably in the wrong party. You may want to leave the room if shoulds are involved and like go to a different room. But those are the places where you definitely might want to look at getting some support, because you're keeping the blessings and the miracles that are available to you away with all of your resistance to the thing that you're resisting.
Yeah.
And again, if you would like support with that, we are here for you. Both Naomi and myself. Reach out. And I think that might be a good place to pause for the week.
Agreed.
How do you feel?
I agree wholeheartedly. I think it's a beautiful place.
Brilliant. And with that, we will see you guys. Or no, we won't see you because we're not on video anymore. We'll talk to you guys next time.
Bye for now.